Welcome to Paint Ed. PCA provides painting contractors with connections they need to grow their business. To find out more and to become a member, visit pcapainted.org. Find more great content just like this on PCA Overdrive. A subscription to the platform is included with membership. For all you non-members out there, sign up for a free trial. PCA Overdrive is available on the App Store and Google Play. This episode is brought to you by 3M, Breakthrough Academy, and Painter Marketing Pros.
Welcome to the Painter Marketing Mastermind Podcast, a show created to help painting company owners build a thriving painting business that does well over $1 million in annual revenue. I'm your host, Brandon Pierpont, founder of Painter Marketing Pros and creator of the popular PCA educational series Learn, Do, Grow, Marketing for Painters. In each episode, I'll be sharing proven tips, strategies, and processes from leading experts in the industry on how they found success in their painting business. We will be interviewing owners of the most successful painting companies in North America and learning from their experiences.
In this episode of the Industry Partner Series, we host guest Mike Gore-Hickman of Painter Growth. Mike grew his painting company to $200,000 per month right out of college. He now runs Painter Growth, the fastest growing business coaching program for painting contractors in the country, and has helped over 1,000 painting companies scale over the past 5 years. What's going on, Mike?
What's up, Brandon? Thanks for having me, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm pumped to have you, brother. So today, I guess I gave a brief bio there, very brief, but if you could maybe elaborate on that a little bit to kick off, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ran my, you can find my origin story in many places, but ran a painting business throughout and out of college. Went really well. My wife, girlfriend at the time, moved out of state. I decided to shut down my business and follow her. I started building a second painting company focused on commercial work in a completely new city, completely new market. After my first year, it was going pretty good. I was getting some like box stores, commercial work and stuff. But after my first year, I got an opportunity to work for a software startup. So for the second time in 1 year, and second time in 12 months, I shut down my second painting company and went all in on software. And it was a really cool decision because I got to be a part of a company that scaled from a startup to like $10 million a year in about 3 years. Throughout that, learned an incredible amount about the online world, how to build an online company. And from there, basically, eventually found Painter Growth. And it's my passion, coaching painting contractors, helping them, supporting them, and giving them the tools that they need. And so now Painter Growth, we have worked with just over 1,000 painting contractors in the last 5 years. We have 8 amazing coaches, all of whom have ran multi-7-figure painting businesses. And we're just here trying to make the biggest impact, biggest splash that we can. Help as many guys get off the tools, grow to $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, whatever it takes with systems and support and everything else in between.
I love it. So before we actually talk about anything serious, so you said wife, girlfriend at the time. I was given a presentation one time with my wife in the audience, and I think I said with my current wife.
Yeah.
When I was presenting, because she wasn't the wife at the time, right? She was the girlfriend. I think she didn't love that. She didn't love that.
Yeah. So last week on August 8th, we celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary.
Nice, dude. Congrats.
So that's a pretty big one. He ended up getting her, this is getting posted in September. So 6 weeks ago, we celebrated our 10-year. So pretty cool.
That's a huge deal, dude. Congratulations. So you started multiple companies, or ramping them quickly, then joined the software company. What kind of software company was it?
So it was like a marketing software. They did marketing. It was honestly probably more agency than software, but they had some developers. They built their own software, kind of like Go High Level for the medical industry before Go High Level was a thing. So they like started from scratch and built their thing. And yeah, it was really cool. The coolest part of it that I learned was like building an online organization, what customer success does, what sales does, how reporting works, how communication works, how to communicate SOPs beyond between departments, which I feel gave me a really good foundation for being able to build now an online company. But also, I had a really great leader at that company who I got to see what transformational leadership actually looked like. And I think many people don't get the pleasure or the value of ever having a great leader in their lives or in their companies. So having that opportunity was definitely a blessing at the time.
That's awesome. And so you have 8 coaches, each with experience running or owning a multi seven-figure painting company.
Correct.
That's impressive. It's a lot of
Yeah.
experience. And having worked with over 1,000 painting companies, that's a lot.
Yep.
What are I guess before we dive in, I know we talked about a few things, selling for the winter, now keeping that busy, refining sales process, profitability, things like that. But I guess having worked with so many different painting companies, what are some of the most common mistakes that you see?
I was actually just talking to Jesse, our head coach, and my business partner earlier today, and one of the one of the things that we've identified is when someone joins, the idea of like joining and paying, say you pay for coaching or pay to do something, pay to go to one of our events or something like that, two things happen. One is you pay, or two things typically happen. One thing always happens, like, okay, you paid. The second thing is, are you enrolled? So enrolled means like mentally, are you already going to the mastermind? Mentally, are you already signed up for the coach? Even though you paid for it, that doesn't mean you're enrolled in it. So being enrolled, being bought in, being committed to it, is really the difference between success and failure in a coaching program from what we've seen. So we've had people come in and they feel like, oh, if I pay, then I'm going to get the result. But in reality, you need to pay and you need to do the work and you need to show up and you do need a little bit of this soft bullshit, which is your mindset. You need to work on your mindset because if you think that it's not going to work for you, then no, it's not going to work for you. So I was never a big mindset guy growing up, high school, college, like whatever. I thought that was fluffy, duffy stuff for losers. But as
Tell us
I'm
how
the
you
longer
really
I'm
feel.
in, right? But then now the longer that I'm in business and I realize how actually important true mindset work is and being able to know what's uh and identify, like self-identify if you have negative connotations about something and to be able to shift that within yourself. Most people can't do this on their own. That's why there's mindset coaches and different support groups and things like that. But we have started helping out with that a lot with that. But if people come in with a negative mindset, this isn't going to work for me, or like, arms up, like show me the result. Yeah, you got to be a partner. You can't be a bystander in your own business.
Yeah, I've had a lot of those similar thoughts where culture was a big one for me prior to building a company with quite a few people. I thought culture was BS. It's just like a word people like to say, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to achieve something. Yeah, and mindset, self-limiting beliefs, things like that. When you actually realize how important they are, it's usually because it's negatively impacting you because you didn't know beforehand. So it's good if you can kind of figure that out when you're one person show or just a few people or you and your wife or whatever that happens to be. Doesn't seem like a big deal. Once you have 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, starts to become a pretty big deal in your
It is,
business.
and now it's not even just your mindset. It's everyone else on your team's mindsets. And if yours is negative, your team is going to pick up on that and propagate that negativity. And it only takes one bad apple, one bad employee to wreck the experience for everybody else and take your company down. I like to say if your company has 4 people and one of those people is shitty, your company is 25% shitty. So I'm sorry if I don't think any children are going to be listening to this podcast, but anyway.
Should be okay. I like how you talked about enrolled too. So not being necessarily an official thing, like an official step in the process, but just more of a mindset. You're actually engaged because we have the same issue. It's actually a pain point in marketing. I think it's a pain. I know it's a pain point in coaching. It's a pain point in everything, where people will come in and there's this big mental hurdle that they have to overcome to buy into something like that. Right? There's a lot of internal turmoil for a lot of people, especially if it's their first time. It is somewhat high ticket for people, a little higher than they might be accustomed to. And then they buy it and they think, whew, kind of wipe sweat off their brow, like I did it. You didn't do it. You just like walk through the door. It's now you got to do it. So I like that, done with you, not done for you.
Yeah, now the real work begins, right? The real work on your business. Do you show up? We've noticed a quite strong correlation in business growth with our owners. We call them owners, not clients or customers. They're our owners because they're all business owners, and a correlation between their success and their attendance on their group call attendance rate. So yes, everyone gets one-on-one coaching, but we find the more group calls that you attend, the faster your business grows. Now, I don't know if this is a correlation equals causation type thing, but I don't know. The data's there. Do with
Sure.
it what you will.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's at least some causation there and probably quite a bit. So when painting companies come in, let's say they're enrolled, so they've signed up, they're enrolled, they're actively engaged. What's typically the low-hanging fruit? Like, you guys have worked with over 1,000 companies. Where are you saying, okay, these are the one, three, five areas that are almost always wrong, are almost always inefficient. We typically dive into these first.
So it really depends on the business size. So if let's say we're dealing with a middle of the road kind of, size contractor, about let's say 500K per year. Okay, they're off the tools. We'll just describe them first. And this, if you're listening, let me know if this describes you. You're off the tools for the most part. You might get called back on the tools if there's like a tricky job. You still think that you're the best painter. You might be the best painter in your company, but you're not painting anymore. You have, 3 to 7 or 8 painters, maybe a bunch of subs or something like that. They're pretty good, but yeah, you need to go on every now and then. You're really busy doing sales, you're doing marketing, you're running your production. Maybe you have a production manager or a sales rep, but you're still super, super busy and you're just holding everything together. This is like the typical type of contractor that comes to us first, and they're like, I don't have time to attend group coaching calls. I don't have time to attend one-on-one coaching calls. When am I going to watch all the videos? Right? Classic. Now, in this scenario, number one, the first thing that we need to do is get control of your time. Because what we'll find is most business owners, and specifically in our experience, painting contractors, are firefighters, right? You're running around, you're putting out the fire, you're putting grease on the loudest wheel, and you're living in this reactive mode where 100% of your life is just reactive. Oh, your phone rings, I'm gonna go fix this problem. Oh, rings, I'm gonna go estimate this lead. Oh, phone rings, I gotta go pay this bill, right? You're reactive all the time. And as long as we're reactive, we don't have time to get into this like fourth quadrant type of proactivity within our jobs and this proactive working on your business type thing. It's like, okay, when are you building your sales processes? When are you digging into your metrics to see what can be improved? When are you looking at your lead sources to see what has a higher cost per lead versus a lower cost per lead and things like that? And most contractors don't look at that data. And I would even go one further and say they don't even know about some of these metrics, let alone where to find them. So number one, getting a hold of your time. And this is involved, there's a few exercises that we prescribe, time audits and looking at what you're doing at the time, using Google Calendars, instilling some good time hygiene habits. And what we find is someone in this type of business can very quickly find between 10 to 15 hours per week of busy work that they can free off their plate. If they have a few employees, they have team members, we show you how to pass responsibilities, how to let some fires burn that need to burn and be more efficient with your time. We can usually find 10 to 15 hours per week of time. And now it's not just about taking those 10 to 15 hours a week and sitting in your truck on Instagram, right? But it's about doing the next most productive thing that you could be doing during that time. And as a business owner, you can often look at all of the things that you could possibly do and be like, what the heck do I do? Do I work on my sales process? Do I hire another painter? Do I look for more jobs? Do I need more leads? Do I work on productivity? Do I go paint for a little bit? Do I work on my finances, right? There's a million things that you can do. And when faced with a million options, we typically, as humans, do the easiest thing. It's like, oh, I have a few hours free. I'm going to go paint for a bit. Like, well, why are you doing that? Well, because I'm going to make some more money. We're going to finish. Like, is that the most money you could make? Right. And so that's what we end up doing is we just go to the easiest thing, go to the comfortable thing that we know how to do because we don't know which one of the other options are the best ones to do. And even if we did know the best one, we don't necessarily know how to do it. So that's where we kind of come in. It's like we figure out where you're at, we get you your time back, and then we look at all the different things that you could be doing, help you identify what the top priority is, and then give you the guidance, the support, the resources, the spreadsheets, the documents, SOPs, the hand holding to do that one thing. And then next week we do it again. And the next week we do it again. And then in 6 weeks from now, your business is unrecognizable because all of the systems and processes and people and uh, everything that's going on, just completely different than the firefighting that you previously had.
Yeah, man. You brought up a couple points in there that I really want to highlight. So I think it's hard to let fires burn, right? We want to make sure that everything's perfect. It's our company. A lot of owners are going to be pretty type A. And so even admin work, even responding to emails or touch ups for painting or whatever it happens to be, we might be the best at it. And so if we let somebody else handle it or we push it off, or God forbid, we just don't do it because it's actually a very minor deal, that can be mentally challenging to let that go. But you have to let some fires typically burn or somebody do the job maybe 80% as well as you would do it so that you can advance your company and move forward. So I think that that's a really good point that you brought up. I think also the idea of just being cognizant. We oftentimes as business owners we feel really really busy and overwhelmed. But John Wooden has a quote: "Never mistake activity for achievement." So just seeing that there's okay, so I can go fill my time with this. Okay, I'm painting. I'm growing my business. I'm responding to emails. I'm growing my business. You might be painting. You might be responding to emails, but you're probably not growing your business as quickly as you could be. So sitting back, looking really at the achievement versus just how busy you are, and that's tough when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah, busyness. I like that quote. But it's true because everyone is busy. We're all busy, especially as business owners. Um, and people often, I think, use busyness as like a flex. It's like, oh, I'm so busy. It's like, okay, I mean, good for you. I would
I'm
actually
important. I
the
can't hang out with you this weekend. I'm so important.
exactly. But the other thing would be the opposite of that would actually be a bigger flex. I have nothing to
Yeah.
do, right? My team is handling it. My production manager's great. My sales rep just closed 40K last week. My admin just made 300 outbound dials last week. Like if your business was set up like that and you were just like, say your job was to meet with 5 property managers a week and that was all you did, how cool would that feel? It's like, yes, I can go to my child's, recital at 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. Right? I don't, and it's not going to make me feel guilty because everything else is handled.
Yeah. I love that, man. Who would you say? So we talked about in this example, painting companies between maybe 3 and 8 painters, owner not really on the tools anymore, maybe occasionally. Who would you say is an ideal fit, ideal owner for your company for painter growth?
So around that avatar, I would say all the way up to, starting for like 400K to about 2 million is kind of our sweet spot. Anything in there, like I feel like we have really, really great systems to kind of help you grow, get to like, as high as 3 or 4 million. Once getting beyond that level, we don't really have the infrastructure and support. We have some partner businesses that we recommend for once we get people there, and we'll like, graduate people out to those other various companies. But getting to 3 or 4 million, we have, I think, I mean, I'm probably biased on this one, but I would say the best systems in the world when it comes to marketing and sales and production and leadership and finance around the smaller painting business. Getting to 2 or 3 production managers, 2 or 3 sales reps, um, having 8 to 10 projects on the go. Like, yeah, that's if you want to get to that point, then we can absolutely help with that. But anyway, let's we don't have to talk about that. Let's just keep dropping some value bombs.
I love it, dude. So the sales process. So 2025 has been a bit of an odd year, a bit of a slow. Some painting companies are killing it. A lot of painting companies seeing a bit of a slowdown. So it's just been unusual. I think a lot of tension, obviously politically and tariffs and kind of everything that's been going on. And whenever we see this at Painter Marketing Pros, we're always advocating for stronger sales process, right? More follow up, reaching out to your list, getting those essentially free leads to book, repeat referral. But one of the things we've noticed in particular is an elongated buying cycle. So projects that maybe used to close in 7 days are now taking an average of maybe 12 to 14 days to close. Let's get into sales.
Sure. Yeah, I love sales. I think that yes, having a really, really great sales process can solve so many problems in business, right? If you didn't have to worry about money and you didn't have to worry about jobs, you know, what would that free up your brain space? So super important skill. And as much as there's so much information and training on this, there are still so many contractors that I meet that join our program that we talk to who still aren't presenting the job on the spot. And some of you guys listening to this are rolling your eyes. You're like, I know it's so basic. Yeah, okay, then how come 80% of you guys aren't doing it? So the way that we set that up is like in a very simple framework. Number one, as soon as you get a lead, you need to do a setup call. This setup call is critical. It doesn't have to be you. It could be you, but it can be you, an admin, sales rep, someone like that. On the sales call, you're going to ask a few main questions: scope, timeline, decision makers, and a trial close. The trial close being the most important. All right, Brandon, I want to come to your house tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock. Um, Assuming the price is fair and you trust that we're going to do a great job, are you going to be ready to book into our schedule? Simple as that. They can say yes or no. You're not going to solve their objection there, but you're pulling out the objection so you know what to expect. It's like they're going to give you like, oh no, I need to talk to my wife. Okay, well, when is your wife available so you guys can both be there in case she has any other questions? You can kind of solve that right there, but you're going to get an idea of what objections to look for ahead of time by asking that trial close. The next is when that estimate comes, it's time to go to the estimate. You show up exactly on time. If you're going to be 1 minute late, literally 1 minute late, you call and you say, hey, Brandon, I'm running 1 minute late. I'm really sorry about that. I'll be there in a second. Just got stuck behind a red light. Is that all right? You're going to be like, as the homeowner, 1 minute late? Dude, why are you even calling me about that? But subconsciously, you're like, if you're concerned about 1 minute late, you're going to do a really great job on my home. People love that. Some of our clients, some of our owners purposely show up 1 minute late so they can make that call.
I was gonna ask that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, sit around the block. Like, I'm 1 minute late.
Yeah, exactly. And then so you go in, you introduce yourself, you sit down at the table, you start you go over their job, their previous, and if they had any previous bad experiences with contractors, and do a walkthrough of the home. One thing that's important when you're doing a walkthrough or a walk around, interior versus exterior, is you need to be speaking in future-paced language, in assumptive language. Like when we are here, where can we put our tools? When we are here, we're going to be covering this all with plastic. We're going to be taping right up to your baseboards. We're going to be doing this. We're going to and like interfacing with their surface, touching their walls. And then so you get all your measurements, you understand the scope, you're talking about your project and your process. See all these scuffs? Like we're actually going to sand that down. We're going to putty it. We're going to sand it again. We're going to prime it. And then it's going to be smooth, really, really nice, going to match the rest of the wall. These holes and dings will be gone. Cool. And then you're going to go to your vehicle to do your numbers. Okay. Before you leave, this is trial close number 2. Hey, Brandon, thanks for showing me your home. I'm going to go to my vehicle. It's going to be taking about 20 minutes. I'm going to write up the exact proposal and price that it's going to take us to complete your project for you. Now, assuming the price is fair and we're within your budget, will you be ready to schedule with us? Right? So this is number 2. You're, again, not necessarily solving it, but you're getting them ready to make a decision. So you go to your vehicle, you do your numbers, you come back in. If it's a big project and it's take you an hour, tell them, hey, this is going to take me an hour, but I'm going to come back in when I'm done. And you don't have to do it when you get home. Anyway, you come back in, sit down at the table, like, all right, full project, go through step by step, exactly what you're doing, build an incredible amount of value. We're going to do this. And you said this was important. And your dogs, we're not going to let them out. And you want us out by 3:30 because your kids and blah, blah, all these exact specific things that they told you. And then how does it sound? This is your third and final trial close. All right, I'm gonna show you the price. If the price is fair, do you trust that we're gonna do a good job? The price is fair. Are you ready to book in with us? Okay, cool. So we're gonna be able to do all of this for $8,221. How would you like to handle that? Oh, sorry, I'm gonna actually miss a step. $8,221. We take a 20% deposit, which is only $1,600 today. How would you like to handle that? Because what you're doing is you're telling them the price, but you're selling the deposit. So the only decision they're making today is a $1,600 decision, not an $8,000 decision. So the price is this. Here's a deposit. How would you like to handle that? And then
Do you give them the deposit amount? So did you say a 20% deposit? That's $1,600. How would you like to handle that?
Yeah, I typically do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because then they don't have to do math in their head. They just know.
How do you handle? Obviously, people struggle with sales. They feel uncomfortable with sales. It's one of the big issues. So that trial close number 2, especially when you're in person, you're saying, hey, I'm going to go, work up the proposal, make sure we cover everything. And then if it if the price seems fair, I like how you focus on fair versus low or something like that. If the price seems fair, are you ready to schedule? How do you mentally work with someone who maybe finds that uncomfortable?
I would probably, because you're right, a lot of people are just, I mean, I've had thousands of reps, and so I get that. I'm probably also a little more extroverted than some. So I get that it's easier for me, whatever. I would say practice by yourself, repeating the phrase over and over, and then with a friend or a partner or another contractor, right? If you can get in a mastermind group and do some role playing and just repeat those phrases over and over. Honestly, you can even role play it with ChatGPT now.
Hmm.
You don't even need a partner. You can just go in ChatGPT. Hey, chat, you're a homeowner. I want to role play a few things with you. Here's the script. You can copy and paste the script. Help me role play this. Give me feedback. And you go in voice agent mode on the free plan and you just go back and forth a few times and practice it. Because if you're going to go and try to say one of these nuanced phrases for the first time in front of a homeowner, you're either not going to say it or you're going to mess it up. So practice makes perfect. Say it 50 to 100 times, by yourself or with ChatGPT, and then you're going to feel a lot more comfortable because it's not rocket science. Like you guys can do hard things. Believe in yourself. The
Yeah.
customer invited you into their home because they want to get this painting done. Do you truly believe that you're the best person to get their job done? If you do, then show them that conviction. And part of that is respecting their time, helping them make a decision, and then respecting your time and your family's time by being more efficient with your time, by increasing your close rate.
Yeah. I think that's great. It comes back to the mindset, right? And I think
Yep.
if you run a solid ethical company and you don't ask for the close, you don't attempt to make the sale, you just say, "Hey, I'll email it to you 24, 48 hours later because then I can go run away, hide." Just send it via email, don't have to do all this uncomfortable sales stuff. Then you very much leave that homeowner vulnerable to unscrupulous contractors. And so you actually have an obligation to attempt to make that sale if you were going to take good care of the homeowner. If you're
Yep.
not, then hopefully you just stop listening to the podcast because you're not my audience and you're not Mike's audience.
Yeah, exactly. I will add one more thing. This is a hot take. If you spend your time doing busy work and things that aren't as efficient as you know that you could, and you have a family, so say you do sales, you do go to estimates, but you don't close on the spot, and you just email the quote the next day. Number one, you're wrecking your evening because you're doing your numbers then, and you're emailing the quote, and you have a lower sales rate than you could because you're not doing it on the spot, and you're just doing busy work throughout the week. If you do these types of things, you are being disrespectful to your family. Because every hour that you're away from the household as a business owner, your spouse, husband or wife, your kids hope and assume that you're doing the best thing for them. And if you are doing a less than optimal job, even though you know a better way because you're scared, that's disrespectful to your family.
Yeah, I love it. It's a powerful point, man. Okay, so sales process, super critical. Try to close on the spot. How about the follow-up? You have any advice there?
So yeah, follow up should be consistent, uh, consistent multiple times, not pushy. I never recommend being pushy, right? Homeowners don't like that. Business owners don't like that. Like we're past the pushy salesness, but you can be firm. So follow up until you get an answer. If you don't close it on the spot, I would say follow up every day or always leave a meeting with a meeting, right? Uh, yeah, leave a meeting with a meeting. There's like an acronym somewhere in there. But at the end of your estimate, if they say no, that's totally fine. Respect their decision. When will you have a decision? When will you know if you want to go with us or not? It's like, okay, well, I need to, or what do you need to do in order to make your decision? Well, we need to review our budget and we need to get these two other quotes. Cool. When are those quotes booked for? All right, we have one tomorrow, one on Wednesday. All right. So can we schedule a follow-up phone call on Thursday or on Wednesday at 6 p.m. where I'll call you. We'll do like a FaceTime. We'll talk about the project, any quotes that you got. And if it's great, we can move ahead. If not, you can let me know then. How does that sound? So what you're doing is you're scheduling that next meeting at that time, and then you put it in your calendar. Every single person listening should be using the Google Calendar and relying on it. So you get your Google Calendar. You are putting that appointment in the calendar, ideally with like a booking software so the homeowner gets a reminder. like a reminder email and text. So either with Drip Jobs or Calendly or Google Calendars actually have a free booking widget. But make sure they get the reminders, book it in your calendar, and then it's going to happen. So always leave a meeting with a meeting. And then if you don't have a meeting scheduled, then I would say just like a daily follow-up, phone and text until you get a yes or a no.
Yeah, one of my mentors taught me that years ago because when I was running the sales for Painter Marketing Pros, you'd leave and sometimes you think, oh, it went great, right? This partner's definitely coming on board, worked great. They said that they're coming on board. They just need the weekend or they need to do XYZ or talk to their wife or their dog or whatever it is. And then often, not necessarily over 50%, but a not insignificant amount of the time, it ends up falling through, right? And so I think it's comfortable a lot of times and a lot of times I think people intend to move forward, but what I didn't realize and what I think a lot of painting company owners don't realize is you're not just competing against other painters, you're competing against apathy. So we're very comfortable in apathy. And so when you hire a painting company and you're gonna, in this example, pay them 8,200, 8221, whatever dollars, or you hire a marketing agency or you hire Mike's company, Painter Growth, you make some big move like that. You could also just not, right? Like we know that the homeowner could paint it themselves. That's a substitute. It's a competitor of you, so to speak, for especially for interior. Um, but we don't think of apathy. So when you put a follow-up meeting on the calendar, you force a decision. So they're either going to move forward with you or they're going to not, but the odds are much higher that they move forward with you because you've basically eliminated apathy. Now we have a date to make a decision. You've removed one of your competitors.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably not talked about enough is that apathy because choosing to not make a decision is a decision in itself, and that's important buying behavior that just isn't really talked about. It's like, oh, I lost a job to a competition, I lost a job to a competitor, I lost a job because my price was too high. Well, maybe you just didn't inspire the customer enough to want to paint their home, and they just decided they didn't want to do it anymore. So that's where things like design consultations and emotional um, framework can really help drive the emotional decision making, not just the logical.
Yeah, I've not heard a stat. I've been very curious about it, but some kind of stat with okay, you deliver a quote for an exterior project, and you look at maybe all the quotes that you deliver over the past 6 months, and then you actually visit all the addresses, and you see what percentage of those actually didn't get repainted. Right? I bet it's at least 20%. I
Yeah.
would assume, if not potentially
Yeah, probably
higher.
at least 20%. Um, I mean, I would say like in sales, there's like the third rule. The first third are going to be people who are pretty easy to close, right? They're kind of like going to close no matter what. So like
Yeah,
33% close rate's kind of
but
like
you
the base.
feel great. You walk away like I closed them. I'm a heck of a
Exactly.
salesman.
Now the next third so the next third is never going to close. No matter what you do, big, whatever, you're never going to close this third. And then the last third is where true salespeople, really good salespeople who can transfer trust will close. So I would say that 66% you can close, 33% you'll never close. So if you can be 50, 60%, that's like you can't really ask for any better than that. If you're higher than that, then you got to raise your prices. But that is, and when I say sales, sales is the transfer of trust. So you need to transfer the trust and belief that you have in your business to the homeowners. And if they believe in your company the same way that you believed in your company, would they buy? I hope so.
Yeah, I hope
Right?
so.
They see they say your conviction, but that's where the transfer of trust comes in. It's not about tactics or salesiness. It's just about transferring trust.
Yeah, and going back to the mindset thing, I think a maybe or a non-decision or we didn't hear back from the homeowner, that can actually feel better for us than a no. No stinks. So I think just recognizing, okay, maybe you don't even want to hear the no. And so maybe you don't push as hard because you're afraid of the no. And maybe you're not even thinking about that, but you're losing a lot of yeses by being afraid of the no. Don't be afraid of
Yeah.
no. No is good. Um, awesome. Let's cover filling the winter calendar. So some strategies for that. I know this is, podcast. Mike and I were talking before the episode. I kind of batch the podcast, so they come out. Sometimes we film a few weeks early, but this will still be, coming out at least in the fall. So how can people pre-book? How can you reduce seasonality?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're in Florida, so less seasonality there. I would say, if
Definitely.
anything, people probably try to paint interiors in the summer.
Yeah.
Whereas up north in half the country, we have winter, we have snow. So our summer season is, like end of March, April, sometimes late as May to end of September, middle to late October, right? Depending on exactly where you are. So you have this summer season where you can paint exterior, and then you have a winter season where you can only paint interior. And I would say typically 2 to 3 months before your interior season starts, at least 2 months. So we're in September, that's fine. You can still get started now. We really want to start some focused interior marketing campaigns. Now, most contractors, when I look at their marketing before they join us, their marketing says, hey, we are specialists. We are specialists in interior and exterior and cabinets and siding and roofing. And we're also specialists in concrete painting and stucco repair. And we're specialists in drywall repair and drywall hanging. And we're
They
specialists
run,
in handyman work.
they run a $40 million company, so they actually have whole departments for each of these.
No, they run a $200,000 a year company and they're specialists in all of this. That tells me I'll take whatever job you can give me and I'll figure it out. I'll be on YouTube on site if I have to be. But, and so $1 million homeowners will never trust a company like that. But if $1 million homeowner gets a flyer that says we're interior painting specialists, and there's a beautiful picture of like a before and after from like a home that's just like theirs, interior painting specialist. We specialize in interior painting. Here's the features, here's the benefits, here's the discount or the offer. Call us before December 1st for our winter interior special or whatever, right? Free paint upgrade, 10% off, whatever. There's many different ways to spin the offer. What this does is this builds trust for the exact type of project that you want to get at that time. And by creating a smaller net, you're going to get more ideal clients. And I recommend rotating that offer multiple times a year, depending on the type of client that you want. So starting in August, September, even early October, start with your interior only campaigns. For us, we do, I mean, absolutely use Brandon for your online stuff, Facebook, Google. You guys will set up the interior only campaigns online. But we recommend also doing some offline stuff. Door hangers, lawn signs, targeted door-to-door campaigns, communications with your property managers, your realtors, your builders, your GCs, with your specialty, with specific print marketing that speaks to your offer and your specialty, right? Your one specialty. And you'll find if you distribute this and you talk about this and you share about this and you go, get some door-to-door guys to go around talking about this with interior only flyers, you're going to pick up an incredible amount of interior work and book your interior schedule way before you need to.
I like that a lot because a lot of companies, I think they want to go one of two ways. They want to either expand their service offering because they shiny object syndrome. They feel like they're leaving money on the table. So they should be doing cabinets because this one homeowner asked about cabinets, or they should be doing flooring because while we're doing the cabinets, they asked about the flooring, but we don't do flooring. So now we're opening a flooring division. Or they think about reducing their service offering and saying, well, they talked to this one company, they only do cabinets and they're killing it. So maybe we should just do cabinets or we should just do interior. And what you're highlighting here is kind of the best of both worlds, where you can do multiple different service offerings. You can cross sell. So if you're doing an interior, maybe cross sell the exterior or the cabinet, but you actually create these marketing campaigns that are more singularly focused on one service based on what you actually want to be primarily selling that time of year. And by sending out a flyer that is focused purely on interior, saying we're interior specialists, and not saying we're also in exterior and cabinet and handyman, and we'll put a roof on if you pay us enough, we'll figure it out. Um, then you're just going to get a much higher response rate with the ideal customer avatar you want at that moment.
Exactly. Yep. And I would also encourage you to look at your job costing reports and see what projects are the highest profitability projects and the ones that your painters can bang out the quickest without needing you. I recently had an owner on our one of our clients. He said that he is completely off the tools, off the job site, except when they get cabinet projects, because he's the only one in his crew that can do cabinets. So when he gets a cabinet project, he stops everything, all working on the business, and spends all week painting this cabinet project. Okay, I get it. You like that 6K of revenue, but at what cost? What if during that time you booked 5 more interior painting projects for your team? Like, how much better would that be? And then you have all your time back. Just look at the projects, what's profitable, what takes your time, what doesn't take your time, what's your team good at, and double down on that.
So you speaking to this time and kind of what you should be spending your time on, you gave a presentation, I think it was during one of Tanner Mullen's events, contractor liftoff, blast off, one of the contractor offs. And you had you had given kind of this like $50 an hour, $500 an hour, $5,000 an hour, and it actually really resonated with me. I thought the presentation was excellent, and I left sort of feeling like an idiot looking through what I had done over the past week. Can you quickly, you might not remember it. I think it was maybe 2 years ago.
I'm very familiar. Yeah, it's one of
Can you
our
run
core
us through
priorities.
that?
Yeah. So the concept here is we teach early on in our time management training, and it's about recognizing the different level of tasks that you have available to you within your business. And we break them down, like you said, 50, 500, 5,000, 50,000. These are just rough benchmarks, but it all starts with the $50 an hour task, which is pretty much painting or anything production related. Like if you're painting, you're making about $50 an hour, maybe $100 an hour, but it doesn't matter. It's way less than 500. So about $50 an hour for production. And can you delegate that for less than $50 an hour? Probably yes, because you can pay a painter $20 an hour or $25 an hour, or God forbid, $30 an hour, and you still have profit left over. Okay. Most business owners doing less than $1 million per year are spending most of their time on $50 an hour activities. And it's not just painting and production, but admin, job costing, bookkeeping, things like that, things that can eat, moving around ladders, right, in the truck, talking to homeowners, closing up jobs. These are all $50 an hour activities. Okay. The next is $500 an hour activities. And this one is pretty much anything sales related, direct sales related is about a $500 an hour activity. The way that we get to that number is say you have I'm going to try to keep the numbers easy. Say you have a $4,000 average job size. You have a 50% gross profit. So every $4,000 job, you make $2,000 gross profit. And say you close one out of every 4 estimates. So 4 hours to book that one. So you take that 2,000 divided by 4, that's $500. Okay. Your average job size is probably bigger than that, and your close rate's probably better than that. So really that's maybe like an $800 an hour activity, sales. So every hour that you're doing production instead of sales, you're effectively paying like $450 an hour, right? You're losing that amount of money. Now, one caveat is that you have to earn the right to do more and more productive tasks. You can't just hop in a business and do $500,000 an hour activities or 50,000, or you can't just spend all day doing sales if you don't have production. You need to earn the right. But if you spend as much of your time as possible in that higher level, your business is going to grow. The next level up is your $5,000 an hour activities. One of the biggest, the easiest to comprehend ones here is your recruiting. So for recruiting, say you spend 10 hours to find one painter, 10 hours solid, pure recruiting time. So in a year, one painter can produce about $125,000. Cut that in half, that's about $62,500 of gross profit. Divide that by 10, that's $6,200 per hour of gross profit. So if you spend 10 hours recruiting to find one person, you add $62,000 an hour of gross profit in a year. That's a $5,000 hour activity. Then we go up even further to like your $50,000 hour activities. This is like building out strategic marketing initiatives, doing one-on-one, being on with your business coach one-on-one, meeting with your production manager and your sales rep and creating the annual plan or the quarterly plan, holding them accountable to numbers, leveraging their skills and their talents in order to drive your business forward. So if you're spending your time on these activities, you're not going to have to worry about the $50 hour activities because your team's got it.
I love that. So when you guys talk with Mike and his team, remember that you're going to be doing $50,000 an hour activities when you're doing this kind of coaching because it's going to move your company forward in ways that most of the other stuff you're doing is not. I think that's great.
Exactly.
Mike, before we wrap this up, I know we talked about you providing some value to our listeners, something that they could take away beyond just the wisdom you've shared today. What is that?
So because we have a few weeks, I'm going to put together a custom mini course / toolkit that gives away every resource that I talked about today. I need the recording to make sure that I can get every one, But like the sales stuff, the field marketing manager stuff, the dollar per hour thing, all of that I'm going to put in the priority management stuff in a downloadable toolkit that you can get, and I'll get you a custom link for it. And you did this on my podcast, so I'm going to do this on your podcast. Anyone who emails me, mike@paintergrowth.com, I will personally hop on a one-on-one meeting with you.
I love it. Mike, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for all the value. Is there anything else you want to add as we wrap up this episode?
I appreciate you having me on, and look forward to seeing you at the events. I think we've got a few events that we're going to be mutually at over the next 6 months. So look forward to hanging out and having a beer and chatting with anyone here who's listening who wants to come see me in person or virtually. So hopefully I can support you guys.
Let's do it. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Brandon.
If you want to learn more about the topics we discussed in this podcast and how you can use them to grow your painting business, visit paintermarketingpros.com/podcast for free training, as well as the ability to schedule a personalized strategy session for your painting company. Again, that URL is paintermarketingpros.com/podcast.
Hey there, painting company owners. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give us your feedback. Let us know how we did. And also, if you're interested in taking your painting business to the next level, make sure you visit the Painter Marketing Pros website at paintermarketingpros.com to learn more about our services. You can also reach out to me directly by emailing me at brandon@paintermarketingpros.com, and I can give you personalized advice on growing your painting business. Until next time, keep growing.
Paint Ed podcasts are produced by the Painting Contractors Association and are made possible by members and industry partners. To find out more about the upcoming educational opportunities or for more information about joining the PCA, visit pcapainted.org.